Alhamdulillah for everything.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Everything's God gave me.
Yes, guys, hope you're doing well. We've got a digital episode today, and it's me, Amin, from the Next podcast, and I'm joined by a very good friend, Jono. Carroll. How you doing, brother?
Alhamdulillah. Very, very good. Always good. Every day above ground is a good day.
And he's joining us from Dubai. All right, he's living life there. He's enjoying life there with his family. And you've got quite a story, Jono. So let's get right into it.
Crazy. Like I was born in Finglas, and was mad. Like no, as a kid, running around from corner to corner, watching cars, like robbed cars, like just rallying and watching the police chase them. It was nuts. Like we were growing up. We didn't even have a car at the very start. I remember my dad had a 125 and had a lot of horses. We used to jockey around from A to B on horses and all. It was nuts. It was mad. Then eventually we got a car, and there was just loads going on. In the area I grew up was nuts. Everyone had motorbikes and horses. You know, we were like blatant cowboy and Indians jockeying around the place. But it was good. Amazing memories. And then I moved out to a place called County Meath in Dunshaughlin. And Ross Cross there was just a different way of life, you know, because my dad's horses was getting impounded and there was just loads of rubbish. So we moved out there. We got a bit of land. We got our own horses. No more impounded horses and all that rubbish. You know, it was good. It was a good life. It was a bit more relaxed life. But my dad just tried to get me away from all the craziness of Dublin, you know.
Yeah. And would you say growing up in Ireland at the time, it was rough, it was rural, you know, it wasn't like nowadays?
Finglas South in the 90s. It was a crazy place, that's all I say. It was a crazy, crazy place. Seeing people's houses getting raided all the time. There was a lot of crime, a lot of robbed cars. Robbed cars was just like the weekend thing. It was a lot of robbed cars is what I can remember. Big bonfires. Everyone was just enjoying life. Every time there was Halloween and stuff came around, there was just rocket fights. Everyone no one was like lighting rockets safely. We were holding rockets from our hands, shooting them and throwing them at each other. It was a mad little place, but it was great memories. As a kid, I remember I got my hand nearly blown off with a repeater one day. I was squeezing it too tight. The thing blew up in my hand. It was just mad. Like it was a crazy upbringing, but one that I have a lot of very fond memories of. You know what I mean? A lot of crazy memories, but fond memories.
Yeah, and that's good as well. Having an upbringing this full of chaos. It's better than nothing, right? It's better than being quiet, just on your phone nowadays, which you see and everything. It's better to be.
I don't know. Like, to be honest, I'm trying to balance out with my kids. I'm trying to give them a bit of balance. Like I don't know about. I'm happy that I went through. I just don't know I want my kids to go through it. You know what I mean? It was mad. Like seeing.
Yeah.
I can't even say. I don't like to say too much, but like I remember houses getting raided. Being in houses when they got raided. The next door neighbours coming into ours when their house was getting raided. Like it was a mad upbringing. There was lots of fights. There was loads of travellers in the area, so we were always fighting. It was just a crazy upbringing, but like I said, like one that I learned from a lot, and it built my character, and I'm very happy and proud of the man who I am today. So all of those pieces of the puzzle made me who I am, and I'm very grateful and thankful for my experiences. You know.
Yeah. And he talks about obviously your upbringing in Ireland, lots of chaos, lots of fighting and everything. Is that what you say got you into boxing at first, or what kind of introduced you to the sport?
Yeah, well, I was all fighting. Like my dad said, you're small, because my dad's my dad's about 6'2". He's a big enough man, and all my uncles are all big. But he came from like a rough, like his brothers were all crazy as well as himself. It's all just bleeding crazy. All my uncles were mad. So I took on that crazy mindset, but I was a small man. So they were all like, you're bleeding tiny, bro, and you're always fighting. Like, you better know how to fight. If you're going to be fighting all the time, at least know how to fight, especially growing up in this area. So they taught me how to fight. I had a few fights with travellers and stuff like that. And it was it was just an amazing experience. Like, I was always fighting. So I got my first victory off a bare knuckle boxing match one day. I was probably no less than 7. And that was it. Like I was always going to the gym with my dad, but I never actually boxed until I was about 15 years old. Like I was always just fighting, street fighting. But 15 when I had my first amateur bout, I think I was thereabouts.
Yeah. And what led to you starting boxing? Were you thinking that, this is my way out of not poverty, but my way out and into success, or was school a thing for you, or was it just fighting?
No, not really. It was more just my way out of getting in trouble. You know what I mean? Like when I started boxing properly, instead of like messing and being fighting on the streets, it actually stopped me from fighting on the streets as much. Not completely, but as much. And then it was like in school, like the teachers were starting to be like, well done, because it was I won my All Irelands in the second year of boxing. And instead of the negative taps on the back for doing crazy things, I was getting the little taps on the back from doing good things. You know what I mean? So it changed my whole perspective. It was making me actually be a better student in school. It was more calm, more relaxed because I was taking all my anger and frustration out in the boxing ring. So I was just chilling there when I was in school. I wasn't trying to get up to too much mischief, even though we still definitely got up to a lot of mischief. But it was just like it put mans on me. In the area where I was from, a man needed guidance. You know what I mean? And I grew up with four sisters, so it was like a bit of a masculine way of like separating myself from my sisters and going to the gym and boxing with my dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And would you
Time
say that kind of put, like you said, put the discipline in you? It kind of tamed you to put all the anger out in boxing. You know?
beast, bro. Let me just tell you that much. I was mad. I still am mad, but now it's in a controlled manner. You know what I mean? Now I decide when I flip the lid and do whatever. I don't even get angry really so much anymore, or even flip the lid. But it's like now I can switch it on when I need to box and it's time to fight. I can flick that switch very easy and channel the demons and King Kong because
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Is that
curse in
where you
this one. I'm
get the
sorry.
name King Kong
Well, I
from?
got
Where'd
the
you get
name
that
King
from?
Kong because we were coming up with loads of different names. Originally, it was like the Celtic Warrior, but Steve Collins had that. And then I started training in this gym. This was in Australia. It was just like last minute I was put in the spot. Because I'm a proud Celt, it was like Celtic Warrior, but I obviously knew that was Steve Collins' name. So me and my uncle was trying to come up with names, and he was just getting out of the car one of the days to fly into the shop. And he said, listen, you're a hairy little, we should just call you King Kong Carroll because you're a hairy. And I was just, we both laughed and giggled as we got out of the car. And I was like, that's actually an alright little ring to it, you know what I mean? King Kong Carroll. So the name from there, when he came back, I was like, bro, I'm going to use that. I was like, that's funny, but I'm definitely going to use that name, like, for sure. So we just stuck, bro. We just used it, and that was it.
Yeah. So what age did you move? Because that's big, from Ireland to Australia. That's, other side of the world, isn't it? What gave you that thought that, you know, I need to forget everything here and make the move to Australia?
Actually moved out my family home when I was just before I turned 16. My mum was at the passing away when I was 15, and then in a car crash. And then I decided to move into my nanny's house just before my 16th birthday. So I was at the moving at my house already. I had a lot of like turmoil stuff going on. But again, I'm very grateful for everything that happened. And when I hit, I'd say around 17, 18, I started trouble a lot. I rented my own house at like 17 or 18. I was 17 when I got my first apartment. I just had all the lads over and we were just doing stupid things, you know what I mean? I was selling weed and all at the stage. I was starting to bash people. If someone wasn't paying me, I was punching their head in. I was just doing stupid things like that. And then I had like 2 or 3 assault charges hitting me, but like silly things that wasn't really because of myself, to be honest. But regardless, I still had them assault charges hit me. I was like, we need to just get out of here. My nanny set me down and just had a conversation with me one day and just said, listen, son, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Like, what are you going to do with your life? I was about 18, nearly 19 at this stage. And she said, like, stop all this rubbish, like selling weed and all. I was like, nanny, I was like, listen. I was like, all me mates smoke weed. It was just easy. We can get it. They're buying it anyway. I was like, it was just simple. Like, it was the only way to make money. I'm broke, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, so, yeah, I broke my hand. Originally, I was focusing fully on boxing to go to 2012 Olympics. And then I broke my hand. So that dream was then shattered. And that's when I started selling and doing stupid things, just trying to make money because I missed going to college because I went away to a boxing trip. So I missed going to college. And then my nanny sat me down and had a conversation. And then I just said, you know what? I wouldn't mind moving to Australia and just get away from all this madness. Because where I was growing up, even though my dad moved me out of Dublin, moving to Scotland, so it was a lot calmer life. I was still from Dublin and still had that mindset, the mentality of a kid from Finglas. So I was still causing mischief and all mad things. So it was just a break. I got a lucky break to go to Australia, and 1 week later, my nanny had that conversation with me. 1 week later, I just had a conversation with a good friend of mine that was over there, with our brother, and we had a conversation on Facebook. And she said, "Why don't you just come over here?" I was telling her I'm getting in trouble. I need to get out of here. And she just said, "Why don't you come over here? My brother will get you a job." And that was it. Boom. 1 week later, she offered to pay for the ticket if I was willing to go. She said the tickets are only, I forget what they were. I think they were €500 at the time. Tickets are only €500. I'll buy you the ticket if you really are truly wanting to get out. I'll buy you the ticket. I says, "Yeah, come on, book it." She was like, "It's just a one way." I says, "Yeah, book it. I don't care if it's a one way. Just go book it. If there's a job already there in the house for me to stay, no problem. I'll go next week." So that was it. I just up and left.
That's a beautiful thing as well. You have people that support you. If you want to change, they'll help you change. You know what I mean? But
Edwina Darby,
yeah.
she was my babysitter when I was the road. She used to babysit me all the time. So it wasn't even like family. It wasn't even like anything like that. It was just a really close friend of mine. And after I lost my mum, she reached back out and we became close. And to this day, we're still very close. You know what I mean? She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. But I owe her a lot because without getting out there, God knows where I'd be today, you know?
Yeah. And so you went to Australia, you found a job. What was that job? And how did you continue boxing as well and training and because training and working as well,
Pickpacking for IGA. It was basically like a supermarket, and we worked in the warehouse where you're stacking up all the pallets and then sending off them into the van, and they would take all the stuff to the supermarkets for delivery. You know what I mean? It was IGA in Australia, but I was getting paid very good money there. I was staying with her brother. I was working away, and I needed to pass a drug test. And at the time, before I went to Australia, I was smoking a lot of weed as well because I broke my hand. So I was like, right, start smoking weed as well. And I need to pass a drug test. So what happened was I always attracted bad people to me at the time because I was like that mindset. I was like a street kid, like mindset. You know what I mean? Even though I was a very good kid my whole life, I still always had the mindset of that because it was what I grew up in and what I seen growing up a lot. So I always met very good people in the boxing gym that weren't smoking weed, that weren't drinking, weren't doing bad things. So I just said, I need to go back to the gym to find good friends to kind of hang around with, to be away from weed and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I've done. I went back to the gym basically just so I could pass the drug test, keep me on the straight and narrow. And I went in there, sparred one guy, he was a professional, and I beat him up. And that was it. The trainer just came to me and just said, "Why don't you go pro?" I was like, "Bro, we're in my country, you need to go to the Olympics to go pro. You need to have a very good amateur background." I only boxed like 2-3 years as an amateur. I was like, I did win 2 World Islands, so I done well. I had like 69 fights as an amateur. I was like, but at the same time, you need to go to the Olympics to probably go to America or England or something then to go pro, you know? Because there was no promotional team or anything like that in Dublin at the time. And he just said, "I know a guy here that will turn you pro, no problem, you're very good." And he more or less persuaded me to go pro. I didn't even care about boxing no more. But I just wanted to be away from bad influences. So that's why I went to the gym. And then from there, I started falling back in love with the sport. And the rest is history. I genuinely feel like it was my mom guiding my career because I didn't really necessarily want to box or love boxing. I done it because it made my dad proud, it made my mom proud. But when my mom passed away, I just got so many opportunities that it was like I felt like it was her guiding my career from above. I genuinely do. I kept getting big opportunities and just kept winning them. I just kept over like defeating people that I really shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Overcoming the odds. It was a beautiful thing. But shit, here we are today.
Yeah. And is that where the prize fighter came in, how you got your name out?
We beaten before prize fighter against a guy called Declan Garrity. He had prize fighter lined up, and I was brought in as the B side to basically lose. And I wanted to fight him in a 6 rounder, but they wanted a 4 rounder, and I only agreed to the fight as a 6 rounder. And the day of the press conference, they dragged it back down to a 4 rounder. And then his manager at the time turned around to me and just said, "Listen, I'll pay you for the 6 rounder. I know you didn't want to do a 6 rounder, but he's training for prize fighter. I'll tell you what, I'll make it sweeter. Whoever wins this fight goes on to box and prize fighter." So we had that fight the next day, and he got disqualified with a headbutt. I was beating him. 100% I was beating him. But he got disqualified because he hit me with a headbutt. He couldn't help it. Now I was beating him. And then I got I went on to prize fighter, and I ended up winning that as well. And then just one thing just snowballed, one thing after another. It was mad.
And that's a beautiful thing as well. In everything in life, it's snowball. Like you won your big fight, and then this happens, that happens, and you keep on going. The momentum, isn't it? Climbing the ladder then. So you said you went pro in Australia, right? And how did you keep the dream alive? Because training isn't free, right? Coaching isn't free. You need to fund it, obviously.
It was very hard to be honest. There was times I was doing painting and decorating in Perth when I was in Perth for my first fight. That was fine. Because the guy, it was actually my sparring partner. He was the one that owned the company, so we used to deliberately be going off work early enough to go to the gym and stuff like that. So that was all right. But then when I went to Australia, I remember working doing scaffolding, and I was up going to scaffolding at 6 o'clock in the morning, coming home, and then I was getting a bus. A bus was nearly like a bus and a train. It was nearly an hour travel to the gym, training at the gym, coming home. So many times I used to fall asleep on the bus and all coming on the train coming home. But lucky enough, it was the last stop because I lived in Melbourne City. They used to wake me up when it was time to go home, and then I just literally go home, have a bit of food, go back to sleep, and it was hard, bro. At the very start, it was hard. It was killing me, like. But I just stuck it out. I only had 2 fights in 2 years. I was mostly working when I was in Australia, and then I come home to Ireland, and then that's when prize fighter happened. So prize fighter gave me a big boost. You know what I mean? It gave me a big platform to fight on. I got a Sky Sports contract, 3 fights for 3 years, and everything just snowballed. You know what I mean? But then I had a bit of speed bumps with them because the tattoo that was on my back. They said I couldn't fight on TV after I fought in Germany. I fought on the Klitschko Tyson Fury versus Klitschko bill in Germany, and I was like, I think it was the co-main event, and apparently you got complaints because the tattoo on my back and stuff like that. And they said I'd never be on TV again. So I started getting put on really low on the undercards there, and I wasn't getting like the fights that they told me I would get. They basically just didn't want to know, you know what I mean? So then I moved from Sky Sports to Frank Warren and Queen Street Promotions, and they literally boosted my career. I had 3 fights with them, got a title fight. And again, it just kept snowballing, bro. But definitely wasn't easy at the start. Like I was working jobs. My ex-missus was working jobs while I was training at the very, very start of her career. So alhamdulillah, now I'm able to give her a good life and everything else.
Yeah, yeah. And moving on to the world title, like you said, when did you get that call up? You know, were you expecting that, or did he know it was going to come at some point? And how did he react to that, and what led to it?
That was an amazing part because I was at that moving out. I was living in San Pedro in Marbella, and the rent was too much for me at the time. And I ended up moving to Monday. It was a place really high up the mountains. It was about 35-minute drive to the gym, but it was only 600 euro a month. Really cheap little cottage we were staying in, but it was far away from everything. So I was broke. That's why we lived up there at the time. But even though I won the IBF European and IBF Intercontinental, I was still like making like 20,000 for the fight or something like that. And just my outgoings was crazy living in my bay, you know. I had myself, my ex, and I had a baby at the time. So I was just like, soon as I fight, like, I had a lot of outgoings. I was living off people giving me loads of money sometimes. Like, my uncle was always there for me, always helped me out. But like, many times I had to, like, when I'd fight, I'd have to give like half of my paycheck away just to cover the last training camp. You know what I mean? So I was living up in this place called Monday, and it was high up the mountains, but it was great for my training camp. I was doing all my runs up there. I was going down to the gym to do boxing every single day, and it was just tough. But then I got that phone call about the world title fight. I remember even where I was standing when I got the phone call telling me how much I was going to earn. It was beautiful, bro. When I got that phone call, it was crazy because every single night I was looking at properties to buy. I wanted to buy something, but yeah, I was broke. But I was like trying to manifest that I was going to buy something nice, and then everything just kind of came to fruition. Alhamdulillah, God provided, you know.
Yeah. And how was that fight against, you know, for the world title? Did you train even harder because you knew that that was your shot to, you know, making it permanently? Or
Previous to the world title fight, and I got a draw. I never believed I got the draw. I should have really got the win. I thought I got the win, but it gave me a bit of a shock because it was like my first draw, and it was the closest thing I came to a loss at the time. So I was like, when I was trying for the world title fight, I came back after the draw, and I just put my head down straight away, and I just trained my ass off. So I never really took a break from that draw. I kept me fitness, and I kept training really hard because I also hurt my ankle coming up to that fight. So I made weight really bad. So I was really overweight. I had to lose like 5-6 kilos the night before the fight. And I was exhausted, and I could feel it later in the fight in my energy levels. So when it came time to train for the world title fight, I just stayed on my diet, stayed on my nutrition, I stayed like training really hard. And I went there and I gave it everything, you know what I mean? It was a really, really good fight against Tevin Farmer. I came away with a loss, but it was a close fight. And me and him has actually became very good friends since then. He brought me over for 2 or 3 training camps at this stage to help him prepare for fights. So that just goes to show the level that he knows I'm at. You know what I mean? He was a world champion for a very long time, and he kept bringing me over for training and sparring with him and everything else. So, from there on, like my stock
when you
rose,
lost
even though I
that
lost the
fight,
fight, My stock
Were you
rose
kind of
because
put off? Because
everyone could see I
obviously
was
you
actually
said it
at
yourself,
world
you don't
level.
like losing.
You know what I
But
mean?
did it kind of teach you lessons that things you need to work on and to look forward to the next?
Yeah, you know what? Like, it was only my 16th professional fight, and I always look at it kind of the way of, if you take prize fighter away, that's 3 professional fights. Other than them, like 3 3-minute rounds was basically like 3 amateur bouts in one night. You know what I mean? So then I always look at it like, if you took them fights away, I'd have 13 professional fights going into that fight. And then I had 2 fights in 2 years, and I was out of the ring for 2 years before that. So like, realistically, like my first 2 professional fights were not real fights. They were nobodies. You know what I mean? I was getting harder spars in the gym. I bashed them. So like, if you take away them other 2 fights that I had in Australia, like realistically, I was going to that fight with like 11 real pro fights. I was very inexperienced, and I just didn't know how to do 12 rounds. Like, it was my second 12 rounder, and the first one I got a draw in. You know what I mean? Like the fight before it was a 12 round, I got a draw in. So I was still really on the learning stage. Like, I only started boxing at 15, like properly boxing at 15. So I was like 26 when I fought for the world title. I had like 2-3 years out of the ring in between that 15 to 26. You know what I mean? So I was still learning an awful lot. Like, that was the very first time I even ever done strength and conditioning, was for that fight. Like, previous to that. So I just started taking my career very serious. Then after that fight, I was like, right, I need a strength and conditioning coach. I need to be eating correct. I need to be doing this. I need the proper masseuse. Like, so I started doing things correct then, the correct way, the professional way. Whereas before, I just didn't have the money to do all that. You know what I mean? So I was literally just winging it, bro. Like, winging making weight, winging everything. But it all helped build my character into who I am today. So it was all worth it, you know. It made me better. I learned a lot in that fight. And then from going back and sparring from him many times, I know I'm at that level. Like, I'm so much of a different fighter now when we spar compared to the fight that we had together, you know?
Speaking about character as well, you obviously made a very big decision to discovering Islam and becoming a Muslim. And what led to that?
Yeah.
Because obviously Ireland's a completely different culture. It's very Christian. It's a very Christian country. So what kind of introduced you
Yeah.
to Islam and becoming a Muslim?
It's a long enough story, but one of my sons died. I had the identical twins. My son Grayson, you'll probably see him on my stories. But I had identical twins. And one son died. And I called that son Gabriel. But because they were identical twins, what happened was they were sharing the womb, sharing the water and everything in the womb. And the complications we had was Gabriel ended up giving all his water to Grayson to keep him alive. So when Gabriel passed away, I was going to call him Hunter. I thought Hunter Carroll was a kill boxing name, weirdly enough, right? So his name was never going to be Gabriel. But after he died, I knew I couldn't call him Hunter because he didn't hunt anything in his life. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, you can't call him that. So I ended up calling him Gabriel. And then I was still living in Spain at this stage. Then I moved over here to Dubai, and a Moroccan lady invited me into her house. And I was at the fasting, everything. I was already going to mosque at this stage because I'm a very like energy person. So I love good people, I love energy and all this stuff. So a friend of mine invited me to mosque one time. I wanted to go to church to pray to my mom because since my mom died, I used to always go to church and pray for my mom and how she watched over me before my fights and everything else. So I was just asking the fella, do you know where there's a church here? Because he's from here, you know what I mean? He was living here a long time. So, bro, do you know where there's a church here? And he says, why don't you just come to mosque with me, bro? He says, like, do you believe Jesus is God or do you believe there's one God? So, nah, bro. I never really was taught that Jesus was God. You know what I mean? I just thought there's one God and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? I says, mostly, I don't even pray to Jesus or, like, I pray to God. Yeah, I say God. Like, I was like, but I mainly pray to my mom, to be honest with you. And he said, I'll tell you what, come to mosque with me on Friday. He says, we'll teach you how to do everything. And then we'll just leave you alone and you can just have your little prayer with your mom. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just between you and God. He says, Islam is a beautiful thing. It's between you and God or you and your mom, whoever. Whatever you want to believe in is between you and that person. You know what I mean? He says, okay, sweet. So I went there to mosque. And I was in Candor and all, you know what I mean? So then there was 2 brothers behind me, always waiting to wash. And I could see them like talking. I was like, where I come from, like in fingers, it was like, someone speaking about you, usually it's speaking negative, you know? So I always thought you were speaking bad. I was thinking, whatever I was thinking in my head, I won't quote. But anyway, went in, done the washing, I came back out. And the brother leaned over, the same fellow who we thought was speaking negative on me, put his hand out and said, welcome to Islam, my brother. And he brought me in and he hooked me. And I was like, wow. And then the fellow who he was talking to done the same thing. He brought me in and he hooked me. He said, welcome to Islam. And here I am walking in the mosque thinking, wow, I need to change my mindset on this whole thing because here I am thinking negative when the lad was actually speaking good about me, you know what I mean? I was like, I need to change my mindset on this. So long story short, went in, prayed, met my brother there. We all prayed together. And it was a beautiful energy in the place. It was crazy. It was so packed. It was Friday prayer. You know what I mean? Juma prayer. We all prayed together. And just the energy, because I'm an energy person, I was very spiritual already at this stage. But with the energy, everyone bound together, everyone like poem. It was just mad powerful, bro. And I just loved the experience. So I started saying to my brother, listen, please, every Friday, just invite me. Invite me, let me know what mosque you're going to, I'll come. So I'm going to mosque like every Friday then at this stage. Then a Moroccan lady who was my daughter's friend's mother invited us in to break fast. It was Ramadan, I think it was. And I was just asking loads of questions about Mecca. Like, why are they all walking around Mecca? Like, why are they running from A to B? Like, what's the story about this? Like, fill me in. I don't know. Like, educate me. So she started filling me in on the whole story. And then she just got to the part where Angel Gabriel come down to open up the well, which is a Zamzam water to give to the baby. And I just got goosebumps, cold shivers over my whole body, bro. And I was like, wow. I was like, since my son died, I'm gonna fill it in on my own story. I was like, my son is called Gabriel. I was like, and since he's died, I've kept asking God, where's the lesson? Where's the lesson? Because I know there's always lessons in hardship. When my mom died, I became a better boxer. Like, like I always became better when I had a bit of turmoil in my life. So I was like, where's the lesson when my son died? And then when she told me the story about Angel Gabriel coming down and opening up the well to give the baby water, I'm not getting the goosebumps there now as well. I told her, I was like, my son was a twin. I was like, and he gave all his water to Grayson to keep him alive. I was like, and I called him Gabriel. I was like, so I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it's a crazy coincidence. And I'm about to get goosebumps out my whole body. And for many months, I've been asking, where's the connection? Like, where's the lesson? I was like, who knows? This could possibly be the lesson, I was like, and I wouldn't mind. I'm already going to mosque every Friday. And I was telling her all these things. I'm going to mosque every Friday. It's not that I'm a Muslim. I was like, I'm just spiritual. You know what I mean? I'm not a Muslim. I wouldn't even say I'm like a strong Catholic. I was like, I'm just like, I believe in God. And my mom passed away. I always believed my mom's watching over me, guiding me. I believe in the afterlife. I believe in all the same things, you know what I mean? That like Muslims believe in. I was like, and I never got taught that Jesus was like God, you know what I mean? Like Jesus prostrated and put his head in the ground and prayed to God. So like obviously he's not God. Like in my mindset, this is all the things that I know about, even in my own religion, like as a Catholic growing up as my own like culture. I was never taught that Jesus was God. I always believed he was the son of God. This is what I always thought, that he was just the son of God. You know what I mean? So I know he's a prophet. I always knew he was a prophet and everything else. Like this goes without saying. But then the very next day, this woman came to me and she came to me with a Quran in English and said, listen, because you were asking so many questions yesterday, she's like, I already feel like you're a Muslim. She says, but because you're asking so many questions and you were so intrigued in knowing more about our religion, I think this book will help you in life. I was like, okay, thank you. So I took the book and then out of respect, I just started reading the book. And honestly, everything just resonated with me, bro. Every single thing just resonated with me. And I like, don't be wrong, I tried to read the Bible a few times, 3, 4 times. I tried to read the Bible and I always put it down and never finished it. You know what I mean? It was never like resonated with me. Sometimes things I was like, what? I have to read that page again. Like that doesn't make sense. Let me read that again. Like there was loads of things that was just didn't seem correct. So anyway, when I read the Quran, everything just slotted into place. I was like, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. And it just seemed like the truth to me. You know what I mean? So, crazy thing. Then I was going through a bit of divorce when my partner had a conversation about going our own ways. And mad enough, I packed all my stuff and I was just about to leave that day. And I went out. I didn't want to cry in front of the kids, so I was like, I'm just going to go out. I took the Quran with me. I was reading the book out the back. And bro, the chapter I flickered open on was, if you decide to divorce with your wife, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, wow. I was like, this is crazy. This lady said, this is a book on life. This will help you in life. And here I am reading this chapter and I'm just going through exactly what this is saying. Don't sleep with anyone, say for 6 months. If you just want to recoup the relationship, recoup it. If not, let her go without holding, resentment. All these things. And I was just like, wow. Like, here I am, just about to walk out. And wouldn't you know, I just opened this book and it's literally reading on that chapter. It was crazy, bro. Mind blowing to me. So, yeah, I can hear my kids running through the hall, so I'm going to have to interrupt this second to let them in. But it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing, bro. And then I decided to reverse. 1 second, I'm just doing an interview, yeah? Just steaks up there on the table. So I decided to revert then. And, yeah, come here. So I end up deciding to revert. The stakes are there. Look, sorry, brother, 1 second. So
Just
then
give them-
I decided to revert to Islam. So I told my brother then, listen, bro, I start getting a prayer mat actually when I was reading the book. Start getting a mat at home. So I start reading the Quran at home. And then I start praying at home. So I was going to mosque every Friday. But then I started praying at home. So then when I went to mosque on Friday, with my brother, I just said, all you have to do is start to pray at home. When you start laughing, you have to be Muslim, bro. He says, you're not. What I mean? Like, he says, you're only every single Friday. He says, you're already Muslim, but you need to do your hat. And I'm like, nah, I'm just spiritual, bro. I just love coming, which is like, I'm just spiritual. Nah, I don't know about all that. And he says, listen, you're praying at home and you're not missing a Friday. He says, you're probably praying more than most Muslims are praying these days, bro. And was laughing. I was like, all right, fair enough. So anyway, a couple of months go by, didn't do my shahada. And then it was Ramadan again. And I don't even know if it was Ramadan. It was probably, I don't know what it was, but it was that day we were all fasting. It was what just went by this week. What's that day called?
Arafah.
Arafat, that's what it was. So then Arafat comes around. And I went to my friend's house to break fast. And he went in to pray. And he didn't know that I was even thinking about going to Islam or anything like it. So then he went in and I really wanted to go. But I was in a Canberra now because I must have been like fasting and everything, waiting to eat. And then he came back out and was like, bro, I really wanted to go in and pray with you. I was like, I just didn't want to disturb you. And he was like, are you Catholic? No, this is a boxer friend of mine. You Catholic, no? I says, yeah, like, but all that religion shit, like, I'm not really into all that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm more like spiritual. I was like, but yeah, I was raised as a Catholic. I was like, but realistically, like, I might have been going to mosque and I told him my story, told him I'm reading the Quran, told him everything. And he said, brother, listen, you're already a Muslim. He says, you should have come in with us, you mad thing. He says, I would have loved you to pray with you. He says, next time, just come in with us. Don't be silly. He says, but if you're going to do your shahada, he says, let me introduce you to one of the sheikhs here from the boys. He's a very powerful man. And he says, he's helped many people revert to Islam. So if you're going to do it, let me introduce to him and he'll do your shahada with you. I was like, all right, sweet. So then a few weeks went by and he couldn't lock your man down because again, he's one of like, his son is married to Sheikh Mohammed's daughter, you know what I mean? So he's really high up in the family. So eventually he got it sorted. And it was just last minute thing. It was like, can you make it there at 7 o'clock today? I was like, yeah, I'm gone. So I got there, got my brothers there, the one that introduced me to Islam first, started bringing me to mosque. We got everyone together. And we went up and just done my shahada. And it was just a beautiful experience, bro. It was amazing. But it's a long story. So sorry for dragging the story on, but it's a beautiful, long story. But you need to know all the little bits and pieces that made me revert. It wasn't just like an overnight thing, you know what I mean? And then this guy invited me to his house like 3 weeks later. And then he said, 3 or 4 weeks later, after we done my shahada, and then he just said, bro, we're going to go and do Mecca if you want to come with us. I said, 100%, bro, let me go. I'd love that, you know what I mean? I'd love that experience. So then that was it. Private jet over there, flew with all like one of the sheikhs from here. We just got to have like the top class experience, bro. I was living with all the sheikhs. We had an imam live with us for like 14 days. I think 6 or 7 days in Mecca, and then we went up to Medina, prayed next to Prophet Muhammad's grave. It was just, wow, what an amazing experience, bro. It was really, really beautiful. So that whole 14 days was like a proper crash course on Islam because I was just non-stop learning my first Fatiha Surah while I was in Mecca, you know, like it was just crazy, bro. Like it was a beautiful experience.
And that's the beautiful thing as well, because I've seen a pattern, with all these people reverting to Islam. That most of them have, like you said, energy people. They're fighters or
Yeah.
they're people high up. You see, you had before Islam, you had, all your titles, all your money and everything, that you felt that something's missing, right? And then you went looking, obviously, and you tapped into that energy. And it's obviously made you, kind of reserved family man as well. Obviously, we'll talk about that later as well. Having a family, obviously, having children and everything. Does that help with boxing? Does that make you kind of more of a fighter, more controlled, more composed?
Even my kids is the most beautiful blessing that God ever gave me, you know what I mean? And it gives me more to work on, not just from myself, but like I'm reading books to try to be the best version of myself. I read the Quran, I listened to the Quran on audio like 4 or 5 times last year. I'm just trying to always be the best version of myself for my kids because I don't want to pass on the same things that was passed on to me. You know what I mean? When you have kids, you need to look at the world in a whole different light. You know what I mean? You want to give them the best knowledge you can give them. You want to help them be as successful as possible. So I can't pass on the same traumas or the same madness. Like I used to hate the police growing up because the area I was from. And now I teach my kids the police are good. They're just doing a job. Blah, blah, blah. Like it's mad the things I was taught growing up and the things that they're taught growing up. So yeah, like being a fighter, it's a dangerous job as well. I don't really necessarily like being a fighter, but it allows me to spend a lot of time with my kids. You know what I mean? They're with me all the time. And I just go to the gym, come back half the time my kids are in the gym with me. You know what I mean? It's a good place for them to grow up in, teach them discipline. Like my daughter does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She does a bit of kickboxing. My son's he's only 3. He's 4 now. But he's already starting to do boxing and stuff. Not that I want them to be fighters. I just want them to always be able to defend themselves and be disciplined and have the same mindset as a fighter, you know? Because once you have that mindset, it is a beautiful mindset. Like to be disciplined, I think a good man is a disciplined man. And again, it's almost like it's good to be a dangerous man, but have it under control. You know what I mean?
Obviously, speaking about control and self-control, you've in the past as well, because you made a big decision, obviously, to revert to Islam, move to Dubai, do everything. Some people, obviously, they don't like it. They don't like seeing someone, change and leave behind his past and make a new future kind of thing. And one of the things I saw recently was obviously Conor McGregor. He, called you a carpet licker, which is obviously, it's a bit, I don't know why or I don't know what, but as a man, obviously, like you say, a changed man.
I forget him straight
How
away,
did he
bro,
react to
because
that? Did he kind of
he
have
has
an
not had the
emotional outburst,
experiences
or
that
were
I've
you
had, so he can't
composed?
see
Did
the
he try and
world
forgive
in the
him?
way that I
What
can
kind of
see it.
things?
And everything that happens in life and the way you burst out, let's say for him slagging someone, it's always a mirror reflection of what's going on in your own life. So him lashing out, hating on me because I've referred to Islam just shows that he's never found true inner peace. Probably because he got bashed by Khabib and he just can't seem to get over that just for the simple fact that Khabib was a Muslim. He just seems to hate anyone that is Islamic. I don't know, but like honestly, when we were growing up, we were obviously getting all the media from America and all this sort of stuff. So like we were not taught that Muslims were great people. We weren't taught that it was a peaceful religion. We were taught a lot of misconceptions about Islam. And now because I'm so awake and aware of it, I understand that the US and America in general, they have been the biggest terrorists. They have been the ones that have conquered so many people's lands. They had wanted the oils and the minerals that were on people's lands. So that's why they were giving all that about all these terrorists and these this and these that. When really they were the one invading most people's lands for the goods that was in them lands. And then all the media that we were getting, simply most of it is controlled by people that are living in America. If you now that I'm awake to it, is if you open your eyes and really see, if everyone in the world was a Muslim, there would be no alcohol. Alcohol wouldn't be sold. There would be no drugs. There would be no gambling. People would do a lot more holistic stuff. Fasting is also very healthy for you. They don't want you to be healthy. They want you to be sick. They want you to be strung out on drugs. They want you to be gambling. They want all these things. Every single one of them things I just mentioned is a multi-billion-dollar company. So it makes sense because America is profiting off us being sick, gambling, drinking alcohol, doing stupid, ending up in prison and all that. Islam is a beautiful, beautiful religion. Islam is perfect. The religion is perfect. Everyone in it is not perfect, but neither is everyone in any other religion. So don't mistake a Muslim for following Islam. You know what I mean? Just because Muslim people may do crazy things, so do Catholic people, so do Protestant people, so do Jews, so do anyone else. It's like there's good and bad in every single religion. But if you actually look and read the Quran, it's perfect, bro. In my eyes, anyway, it's perfect. The religion is so peaceful. And I'm now starting to say to people, listen, from the Abraham religion to the Christian, because now I'm not so much about religions. It's crazy. From being a Muslim, I know more about the Catholic religion. It's crazy to me to even know so much more about the Catholic religion. But listen, one thing I say to them all is, from Abraham to Jesus to Prophet Muhammad, the message is all the same. Forget what you want to label yourself. Did you get the message? That's the most important thing. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be nice to your next door neighbor. You know what I mean? Give out the goodness of your heart. Like all these, the morals are the same in most religions. But did you get the message? That's the most important, powerful statement that you can make.
What you said is, bang on. I can't add anything to that. You see, they want you to be weak. They hook you onto all these, like you said. I'm not going to mention them again. You've already said it. They hook onto all these substances and stuff, and they change, the narrative. For example, you're seeing even now, like all this stuff that's happening in Palestine. They don't report on it. They report on, this sport or that
Yeah,
sport. And as a fighter as well, your eyes are more open because you've been through, physical struggle. You've been through struggle. You know what the world looks
exactly.
like because
And
you've been through it. You're not just like me, just sitting,
yeah,
just consuming. You're out there putting things out, isn't it?
the thing as well, if you're just sitting consuming, you tend to believe a lot of the things that you hear. But when you experience things with your own eyes, like nobody can judge me, especially McGregor, for an example, for reverting to Islam because he's still drinking. He's still the shaitan got him by the and it's ruined his life. He could have been a superstar and a true role model for all the Irish people, but instead he's done a lot of crazy things. And I'm just happy. I wouldn't trade my life for his life, but I have peace of mind. He don't have that. I have a beautiful family. I broke up with my ex a year and a half ago, and we still are best mates to this day. But we were only going to go down to the camper today just to watch the sunset and all with the kids because she's packing up the house or moving a few things down the camper and that. But like I'm an amazing man to her still. I still pay for her rent. I still do good things for her. I still take the kids anytime she needs them. If she needs money, I'm there. No problem. Don't have to ask me twice to be a good man. You know what I mean? I didn't sleep with anyone for 6 months because I was reading the Quran. After we broke up, I was like, no, I'm going to go buy the Quran. I'm going to do good. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to be a good man. Best believe if maybe I had a broke up years ago, the next weekend I would have been out drinking and going whatever, and it would have ruined my life and probably would have ruined my family connection. But now me and her are even half talking about even getting back together because we grew apart. But now she's a Muslim also. I'm a Muslim. She's seen the positive effects it's had on me in my life. And inshallah, maybe one day, who knows, we'll get back together. But it's beautiful the way I was able to keep my family unit strong because family is everything. And it teaches you that in Islam. You know what I mean? Give her the same life that she always had. Like, like if she wants to do her thing, let her do her thing, but don't hold no resentment. You know what I mean? If you want to let her go, let her go. But if you want to go back together, then get back together. But I tried literally just focusing so much of my time and energy on being a better version. And I just believe Islam made me a better version of myself. So I don't care if someone like McGregor wants to say some hate on most of the people that are hating on me, for example, on social media and stuff like that. It's all just a mirror reflection of their own self. They're only hating that, like, you would never get criticism by anyone that's doing better than you. Very rarely do you get criticism by someone that's doing better than you. It's something that you're lacking or they're jealous of or whatever. It's the only reason people hate. You know what I mean? So 99% of the people that hate on me reverting for Islam have probably never read the Bible in their life and be hating on me. At least I tried to read the Bible. You know what I mean? I was always spiritual. You know what I mean? But one thing what I will say on that point as well is culture and religion are two different things. I still have my culture. I'm still a very proud Irishman. You know what I mean? But my religion is my religion, and I'm trying to go by the religion now. My culture is still my culture. I was still raised in a certain way. And honestly, if you look at gypsies and travelers, because they actually go by like trying to live the same way as Christians did. You know what I mean? They are very similar to Muslims. The family unit is solid. The women don't work. The men look after the women. Like gypsies, and I grew up with a lot of them. Travelers and gypsies are so similar to Muslims. Like ridiculously similar to Muslims. You know what I mean? Pretty holy people. But again, the message was all the same. They were all messengers. And that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, to do with family, you found your peace. You wouldn't trade any of that for none of this party nonsense. You found, your family, your kids and stuff. And as a boxer, and obviously you're spending a lot of time with your family now, where do you kind of see your boxing career going? Do you think you can balance quality time with family while still, chasing world titles, or is it just about legacy now?
I box for my family. You know what I mean? So sometimes I have my kids in the gym. They see me training hard. I like to show. Like, it's easy to tell your kids what to do in life, but it's different showing them. So to actually show them and bring them to the gym with you. Like, I'm my own boss. I choose my own hours. If I need to be in the gym at a certain time, I go to the gym at a certain time. I bring my kids with me. You know what I mean? Like, I like them to see the hard work that I'm putting in, to give them the good life. So my kids are complaining, oh, you have to go to the gym. I'm like, you want to come with me? Come with me. But don't complain, I have to go to the gym. You like this life? You like these toys? You like this swimming pool you're swimming in? It's all because daddy works us up and I'm in the gym all the time. I was like, so if you don't want it, if you don't want that to go, then come with me. You know what I mean? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But at least they understand. You have to make sacrifices for what you want in this world. You don't just get everything handed to you. And I make a lot of sacrifices for my kids to give them a good life. But this next fight that I have coming up is a very big, important fight. So on the 18th of this month, they're going to go back to Ireland. I'm going to spend a lot of time for the last, it's like 8 weeks, they're going to spend in Ireland.
And coming from Ireland as well, before we get into our kind of final Q&A section, there's an Irishman as well I've seen that they stand on business. I have lots of respect for Ireland, you and many other, because you talk about what's right, you don't hide from these things. Is that something that's always stayed with you, standing for the truth and not being scared of what, Sky Sports say or what these guys say?
Like, at the end of the day, if something's worth standing up for, then you should stand up for it. We shouldn't be sheep, you know what I mean? The one beautiful thing I do love about my Irish people is that we don't just bend over and accept it the way the world tells us it should be. You know what I mean? When we seen all that stuff going on with Palestine, we can relate because we had England invade us back in the day, and it didn't seem like that long ago. It was our grandparents was fighting that war. So them stories still trickle down. We've seen a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? So when we see it happen to the Palestinians, we're like, this is not right. This is wrong. You know what I mean? So we always stand up. I'm a very strong, proud people. So if there's a cause worth fighting for, best believe the Irish will do it. And even I remember there's many stories, Irish traveling over to America back in the war when America was taking over all like Mexico and stuff like that. And the Irish helped the Mexicans. You know what I mean? So like the Irish are loved all around the world because they stand up for what's correct and what's right. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm very proud of my country, man.
Yeah, it's a great thing to be proud of as well. And now let's move on to the quickfire round. So we've obviously put a poll out. The viewers have sent some questions in. So quickfire questions. Let's get them, lad. So cool. The first one is, who's the toughest opponent you faced in your career?
I'd have to go as far as to say Kevin Farmer. Like, he was a world champion at the time. He was the most skillful opponent that I fought. I'd say Kevin Farmer, maybe, yeah. At the time, he was very, very good. Like, there was a lot of things that he'd done that I didn't really see before. And he had hidden power that I wasn't expecting. So, yeah, let's go with Kevin Farmer.
And what's the most painful moment in your career?
I fought this guy called Andy Vince, and I broke my hand 3 weeks before the fight. And I got a cortisone injection because I was getting good money for the fight. My son was at the passing away. I was going there for a training camp to Mexico, and then my other son was still alive, but he was in the incubator and everything else. So the missus was at home looking after the kids, and I was away for the fight, and I was getting paid good money. I hurt my hand really bad. I broke my wrist. I shattered like 10 hairline fractures that I got in it, and I just got a cortisone injection. And I went into that fight, and I fought a whole 12 rounds with a broken hand. From the very first bell, I hit him with a backhand. My hand was in bits, but I done that 12 rounds with a broken hand, and I won that fight. That was the most painful. My hand was like a balloon after the fight. It was so sore.
Yeah. And the next question is, it's a bit of a deep one, Jono, but if not boxing, what would you be doing?
If I've never started with boxing in the first place, I would have to say I was probably just going to sell drugs. It's not a nice question, because coming from the area I came from, I think I just would have fell down into a bad, slippery slope. You know what I mean? It was all I knew growing up in the area where I was from, and I was already half doing it. If I hadn't went to Australia and found boxing, maybe I would have just went to Australia. I say that now because I'm still like a kid from the streets. But honestly, when I went to Australia, I just wanted to walk and I wanted to have that clean lifestyle. But I never loved anything else. I didn't love selling weed or doing stupid things either. I'm going to say selling drugs. I never sold bad drugs, class A's, never done that in my life. Only a bit of weed. That's God's plant, you know what I mean? That's not that bad. That's all right. So it was never that bad, but it was just what I seen grow up. So it was all I knew kind of growing up. But you know what? I love property. I would have found a way to fall into property. Like, I already do a little bit of property now myself. And I think sooner or later I would have fell into property. maybe. But previous to that, I might have been ended up already in jail. So I don't know. But I was never going to live broke. I was never going to live broke. I don't know. And I never want to work for other people either. I was always going to be my own boss.
Yeah, man, that's the killer mentality. Go hard or go home. I believe in that. I'm sure you believe in that. Either win or die trying. That's kind of my mentality as well.
Exactly. Says get rich or do it trying. I'm still on that mindset.
Yeah, man. This is kind of contrast question. What's your favorite? Because obviously you said you're a spiritual person. What's your favorite quote in the Quran that you kind of live by?
Quote in the Quran, but you know what? What I will say, and it was always from my grandmother. It was treat your neighbors how you would like to be treated. That's always the best. Because if you give, you get. If you're a good person, good always comes back to you. It's an energy thing. So I think that's the most powerful one. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You should always look after your neighbors. You get your neighbors back, they'll always look after you.
In terms of places you've been, in Spain, Ireland, Australia, Dubai, what's your kind of favorite city in the world and why?
Honestly, just because of the safety, number one. Number two, there's so many things to do for the kids. Like you can't. I've been here like 3.5 years now, and I've not run out of things to do. Every weekend, I can do different things. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful place to go camping. Right now, not so much because it's hot, but like beautiful places here to go camping in the winter time. I just love like that out. But you know what? Just the glitz and glam is so beautiful here. But then also, I'm thinking about moving to Thailand for the year just to let the kids experience a different culture, just so they're not privileged kids growing up being spoiled in the boy. Because I like my kids to have a bit of street smart around them because that's the way I was raised, you know what I mean? And the boy is just so safe. There's so many flashy things here, like, you know what I mean? I don't want them to fall under that false, fake life. Because the thing is, even though I'm here, I'm not living that fake, crazy life. I have really true good friends here that want to see me do good. We're not into all this, like, you don't see me wearing loads of big fucking fancy watches like that, you know what I mean? Half the time I'm just in gym clothes. Like, so, I don't know, like, I tell you raise your kids, but I think the boy is the best place in the world right now for investments, for just for fun things to do as well. Just beautiful, bro. What an amazing country. And then obviously you have all the brothers on the Friday that's beautiful to go and pray with. So just the brotherhood is different here, bro, you know? It's a lovely, lovely place.
When you're going to retire from boxing or whatever you're thinking of, where do you want to kind of settle down? Is Dubai the answer or somewhere else?
I don't know. Like I see myself moving to Thailand probably next year, but then I also see myself coming back to Dubai because I love it so much. I only kind of I want my kids just to experience a few different cultures. Like they already lived in Spain for a few years. Now they're living here. They're going to go back to Ireland for a few months. I wouldn't mind that just for just going to Thailand for a year or whatever. Who knows? I might just come back to Dubai because I love Dubai. But I do think Dubai is where I'm going to stay, and then I think this is where all my investments is going to be. I just love this place. So yeah, I see myself being here for the next couple of years, inshallah.
Inshallah. And one more question, obviously, because I've said the last question before, but one more. Let's get it out. You've had a lot of experiences, obviously, been through the good, the bad, the ugly. What's one piece of advice you'd love to give to the viewers watching this?
You know what? I always used to say this thing as a kid, and one of my best friends actually got a tattoo on his arm, and I try to live my life like this. Is a James Dean quote: "Dream as if you live forever, but live as if you die today." Dream big, because anything is possible. If someone else has done it, so can you. But we all have that same 24 hours in a day. But dream as if you live forever. So dream big, but live as if you died today. Live every single day, because like that, my mom died. One day she was there, the next day she was gone. She was taken away from me. I remember on my 16th birthday, I found my uncle dead. The day before, I chilled with him when I was with him all night long. The next day, I woke up and he was dead. So time is just borrowed. Everything we have, all this materialistic world, is just borrowed. We don't own anything. And now I'm getting a hug from my daughter for speaking that positive, good stuff. If you live forever, live as if you died today. You remember that as well, okay, girl?
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you so much, Jono. It's been a pleasure. Obviously, we've learned a lot. Stories. God bless you, man. Take care.
God bless. Assalamu alaikum. Take care, my brother.
Take care.
God bless.
Much love.
Take care, bro. God bless.
Alhamdulillah. Always. We know the loss. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.